Hey, Healthy Homestead friends, it's Mike. It is December 30th, 2022, and it's been a while since I've got on here and done a blog about my journey with LifeVantage. Been on it a little over 4 months. The Tri-Synergizers, that's the NRF2, the NRF1, and the NAD. It was probably about close to, a week or so later I got on using the prebiotics, the probiotics, the omega-3s, sometimes the Axios, and then started the collagen, liquid collagen. Well, I actually started it daily, on the 8th of December. So it's been like 22 days now that I've been on that. Yeah, I can't really say where I'm at with my health. Still, it's been rough. Past 6-7 weeks have been hard. I've had some kind of respiratory infection going on, so haven't really felt like getting on and doing a lot of videos and stuff like that here lately. Just a lot of headaches. I hate to use the word nauseous because, nausea usually indicates that you have some sort of stomach issue or, upset stomach and vomiting, which I'm not having either one of those. But the feeling that I get, to me, the best way to describe it is just kind of a nauseous feeling without the stomach issues and the vomiting. I don't have abdominal pain. I'm not having like cramping, anything like that. Stools and such. They can be back and forth. One day they can be, pretty normal stools, and then there's some days they can be, kind of running and stuff like that. And some may ask, is the problem from taking the LifeVantage? From what I've studied, that's not the case. That NRF2 is just an activator. It's not a medicine. It's not a supplement. But I wanted to get on there and just do an update. I know it's been, like I said, the 22nd of December. It's been 4 months exactly. And today being the 30th, so it's been about 8 days after that. And like I said, my anxiety, stress, I'm guessing that's what it is. I can only assume. Doctors, unfortunately, have not been a whole lot of help. I did go to see my family doctor, a couple weeks ago. And because, I have been dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety. Not really sure where it's all coming from. But, all they ever suggest, and almost every doctor I've been to suggests that I get a colonoscopy. While a colonoscopy may be a good mediator to try and figure out some things, I suppose, but there are other options. I know you can have blood tests, you can do stool samples. Those, could be very, very helpful, but they don't offer that as an option. Because what my problem is, what I notice is I get something like right behind my nose, which I think could be an inner ear issue. I'm going to see a ear, nose, and throat doctor on the 3rd of January to kind of see if maybe my crystals, or maybe I've got an inner ear problem going on. Maybe it's sinuses. I have no idea. And then sometimes I get chest issues where it's like a stabbing sensation. Just an uncomfortable feeling, not like a pressure, like a heart attack or anything like that, which sometimes with the anxiety, it kind of leads you to believe that that's what's going on. But, I've had EKGs, I've had echocardiograms, which rules out cardiovascular problems or coronary heart disease. So, there is room for error there, obviously, but both of those tests are pretty good at being able to find those issues. I would say probably more than 10 years ago, I did do something on my muscular part of my chest. I used to haul pop for a living for 7-Up. Then I also threw trash for quite a few years. And I always had this, like when I would do a cross my body raking motion, I always could feel like some pain through these muscles through here. I don't know, without really specifically talking to a skeletal specialist, if whether or not, that they could have been torn or stretched, whatever could have happened to it. I do know there was another time when I was doing a sump pump outside, and I was pulling it out of the pit. I pulled something in my shoulder real bad, and I mean, it was just, and it was right before we had went down to a state park in the southern part of Indiana, and man, it was hurting bad. I mean, I was using those pads on there for pain. I still went anyhow because, I was working all the time, and I've been looking forward to going, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me, but it hurt bad. So, so I got a lot of fatty deposits, or, them little pea-sized things next to where my muscles and stuff are, especially close to my sternum, here on the side of my arm. And then usually up underneath my nipple area, right in the rib cage area. Sometimes I'll get like these, I don't know, just these feelings of something. It's a sensation that usually occurs, and it just kind of, I don't know, just floods over my body. It just kind of makes me hot, raises my blood pressure. There's been a couple things I've looked at on Google doing some searching. I think it's called the pheochromocytoma, I think it's called, which we do have paraganglioma in our family. However, my mom was tested, which the likelihood of me having that is pretty slim, or next to nothing. But the other one, the pheochromocytoma, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, they're both tumors in your adrenal glands. And sometimes it makes me wonder if maybe my adrenal glands are messed up for me to have the anxiety and stress that I do. I mean, I've suffered from anxiety my whole life, ever since I was a child that I can recall. And I did have issues with my ears when I was about 9 years old. I had tubes put in my ears. And I kind of recall, I mean, it's been 40 years ago, but I do kind of recall just having like a head pressure feeling. It's not like sinus congestion or anything like that. It's just a head pressure. And it just gives me like this banded headache all the way around my head. So, I mean, I just got a lot of things going on. I just don't feel the greatest. Now, I'm not blaming any of this on LifeVantage. I've only been on it for 4 months. What I've had been going on for well over a year, and even prior to that, I mean, it's just kind of like a fuse on a stick of dynamite, I guess. But it has got to the point to where we're at today. So that's not, I don't believe it's the LifeVantage that's doing it. I don't believe that whatsoever. And I don't want to get into it on this video because, I mean, I've explained it on other videos why I believe that. If you do have any questions about why I think that, then you're feel free to get a hold of me and I can talk to you more about that. But if anything, I think the LifeVantage is helping me quite a bit. The LifeVantage activation products are. So, yeah, a lot of tinnitus going on again. Real loud ringing noise. Seems like the left has been a little worse than the right. I've been using a apple cider vinegar mix with water diluted in it and putting that in my ears. It's got a real good antibacterial effect to it. And yeah, so that, I mean, it kind of seems like it helps a little bit. But so I am considering moving back upstairs. My wife and I, we've had our room in the basement, a finished basement, for About 4 years ago. We were down there prior to that, but the basement I got is one that has flooded about 4 times since I moved here in 2012. And so we've had to move upstairs, and then we move back downstairs once we finish it again. But I don't know if maybe there's a mold issue going on that could be affecting me. Last year when I was having issues in July with the gout, they put me on the indomethacin, which is a non-steroidal prescription, plus the diclofenac, which I think is kind of the same thing. Forgive me if that's wrong. I'm not positive, but I think it was used for pain, and I'm pretty sure it's an anti-inflammatory prescription. Plus, I was taking ibuprofen and some alpurinol, which is a long-term gout remedy prescription. And so I'd taken all those and started about July time frame. The diclofenac I was prescribed, and then by the end of July, then I ended up having a tooth that was removed. That was, that was my bottom one when I had that done in 2000. No, I'm sorry. Let me back up. I was on diclofenac, the one in July of 2021, and that I ended up having an upper tooth that was removed because it was giving me all kinds of fit, and it was around the time frame that I started the diclofenac. Prior to that, in 2019, I had an issue with my wrist, and I had tendonitis in my wrist, and they put me on meloxicam and diclofenac. And then when I was on the diclofenac, I ended up having a tooth on the bottom that was removed, and then they ended up doing a root canal on it. Well, that root canal ended up getting an infection, and I just recently had that removed on October 31st this year. So, I mean, it's a very big coincidence that diclofenac, both times that I took that, I ended up having tooth problems. The indomethacin, like I said, I'm not really sure about that, but it is a non-steroidal, and those can affect your digestive system. Any kind of non-steroidal drugs can mess with your digestion pretty bad. And I kind of think that's where my leaky gut kind of got started. I always had problems with irritable bowels as a child as well, but it kind of pushed me over the edge, I think, last year, because I never had any of these problems feeling like there was something wrong with me and not knowing what it was. When I started taking those, it was by middle of August that I started having problems in the yard there, hooking up my trailers to go to Chicago, and I started blacking out, didn't feel well. I really felt like I was dehydrated, is kind of what I thought. And then it just got to the point where I just didn't feel comfortable even driving. And unfortunately, I had to go on short-term disability, and then I ended up leaving that trucking company in March of this past year. So I'm just kind of at a loss. If anybody has any ideas of, maybe you've suffered from some of these things that, and you found something that helped, then reach out to me. I mean, I'm all ears. I'd like to try and figure out what this is that's bothering me so bad. Because, what really drains you the most is just the fact that you get up every day and you just feel terrible. And then there's just something that triggers this, and I assume it's the anxiety. At least that's what I've been told. I mentioned earlier, the doctor always wants to do a colonoscopy. And then the other option is that if my anxiety, he thinks, doesn't seem to get better, then they have to consider doing traditional medication. Well, I don't want to do traditional medication. And in my opinion, prescription drugs is not traditional. They are the experiment. Traditional is the all-natural. People have to remember that drugs that are used through the prescription companies, they derive from all-natural remedies throughout the years. I mean, they use these things, they mix them together, and then that's where they come up. I know lisinopril, I couldn't name off them all, but I know there's at least 5 things in lisinopril, which is for high blood pressure issues or hypertension, that are all natural products that's in it. So I'm not sure how he can sit there and tell me that it's traditional when it is not. So anyhow, I digress on that, but I'm just still trying to move along. I mean, it's like I said, it's only been 4 months that I use the LifeVantage, or started using the LifeVantage products. I know that the liquid collagen has the capability of repairing and healing your digestion. So if I did or do still have IBS or leaky gut, that I do believe it's going to heal that. I am all about trying to find the root cause. I'm not going to sit here and give in and let them make me think or believe that I need some kind of medicine to heal me, because you don't. That's a big lie. Just recently my daughter had an ear infection along with a fever and respiratory issues. So we went to the urgent care, and of course they prescribed her an amoxicillin, an antibiotic. And I did like 3 different searches on it, and I've always been led to believe throughout the years that with a viral infection, it has to run its course. I've always been told that. And with a bacterial infection, usually they determine that in the office, which one you have. If it's a bacterial infection, they give you an antibiotic for that. Well, these 3 searches I both come up with that said that bacterial infections do not need to be necessarily given a medicinal approach. It doesn't have to be healed by medicine, that they will heal themselves on their own. Like I said, there was 3 different searches, 3 different places that said that. And that doesn't surprise me. People, if you've already seen, there's been more and more ads of how Tylenol has been investigated, and there's been cases that they believe that ADHD and autism is being, they think is linked to Tylenol usage. And they claim in the hospitals that Tylenol is one of the safest over-the-counter medications you can get, or prescriptions for a pregnant woman. And so I think the truth is coming out. I really do. Because prescription drugs and even over-the-counter are nothing but Band-Aids. And many times when you take them, then they can actually not actually, but they will, in most cases, just make things worse. You may not always notice that they're making things worse for you, but it takes time to build it up. I mean, when I was having problems with my ankles, you can bet you I was popping pills left and right because it hurt so bad. I mean, it was literally, I was a point where I was crawling in most places because my inflammation and pain was so bad. So I can understand how people can get sick taking this stuff, and I hope to God that what I took last year didn't mess up something in me, in my immune system, and or my nervous system or anything like that. And I hope that it's something that can be reversed, because I'm pretty concerned about if this is going to be something I'm going to have to live with the rest of my life. So I think, but the best thing that I have going for me, though, is the LifeVantage products, the activation products. And here we're getting at 20 minutes on the video now, so I don't really have time to get into it much more than that. But I know it's kind of a long video, but I'm just kind of wanting to put it out there. I'm just wanting to be real. And I'm still at the point where I want to help other people, like with the co-op that I have and the LifeVantage both. Just because my results are taking longer doesn't mean that yours will. But there's always that case that it could even take you longer as well. Toby Detweiler, one of the guys in my upline, 74-year-old gentleman, been 4 years free of lupus. Took the NRF2 product for 2.5 years. It took him about 6 to 10 months where he really started noticing some improvements, but still took him 2.5 years before he was tested again, and they said that he did not have lupus. So, and that's just one testimony right there. So that still gives me hope that whatever it is that I have a problem with, I mean, I hope it's not anything that's cardiovascular. I mean, I am 49 years old. I do have B positive blood, which, you know, some people say that blood can play a role in heart disease and heart problems and things like that. So, I don't know. I can only take one day at a time and hope that things do get better, because right now it's hard. It really is. It's hard every day. And especially when you're not feeling well and you get this flooding emotions coming over you and sensations and feelings like that, you just know there's just something that's not right. And I absolutely feel like I get no help at all from doctors. You know, they just want to prescribe you a pill or give you a colonoscopy. You know, with me being in my face and feeling like stuff in my chest around my heart, to me, how is a colonoscopy and endoscopy rule anything out there with those two things? Now, can your digestive system play a role in those two things? Of course they can. But like I mentioned earlier, I don't have acid reflux. I know I don't have an hiatal hernia. I don't have cramping. I don't have bloating. Every now and then I have gas, but that's normal. I mean, people do get gas. And I don't have blood in my stools. So a colonoscopy, I mean, I'm sure is a good pre-screen for a lot of things, but I'm just not buying it. You know, there are other tests that can be done. And I'm not going to sit there and go in there and have that done, because once I have that done, most likely it's going to come back that they're not going to find anything. And then what? Then what are they going to do then? You know, then I just wasted a bunch of money. I mean, insurance probably would pay for a majority of it, but wasted a bunch of time and money to do something that was really never needed to begin with. So I'm just praying, you know, that I can find somebody that can give me some insight, maybe give me some help, so I can get past this and try to have more of a normal life. Because my goal is that I want to help myself, but I want to help other people too. Because to live like this every day sucks. And I'm sorry, but the Western medication world, it's just pathetic, in my opinion. It really is. You know, many people may disagree with that, but I'm just very, very discouraged by it, because it's the same song and dance every time you go there. So anyhow, I hope this video maybe speaks to some people. I know it's kind of long, but that's just kind of what I'm going through right now. And just be praying for me. You know, and if you have any advice or any suggestions on what I could do, then I would appreciate people's thoughts and ideas. And don't be upset if I already, you know, if I don't get back to you or whatever right away, because it may be a situation where I may have already tried it, because I have tried quite a few different things. And but don't go be knocking the LifeVantage stuff, because I understand the science behind it and what it can do. And until you understand that point, it's kind of a moot point for you to argue a whole lot with that until you hear and understand what it actually does and what it's supposed to do for you. So just be careful with that one. But anyhow, so I'm going to end it here at this point. This concludes my video. And here's to another healthier day and a healthier life. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.